Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, it's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. It's me, Coach Muddle, with Nevada Nick. We got some big news, breaking news right before the show a little while ago. The Eagles fired Doug Peterson. So we're going to get into that. I know Nevada Nick's got a lot to say about that. We're going to recap that horrible late game. And the other two games played yesterday. And we have a national championship to be played as well tonight. So, of course, Nevada Nick's going to have some picks coming up for that. And the master, the magician, Stiz, will be, hit his props again. So he might sprinkle us with his presence and gift us another prop bet for tonight. We don't know. We'll see. So we'll get into that.
I don't think he's going to put the streak on the line with college football. He doesn't follow college enough. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm him, I wouldn't put. I think he's at 9 straight or 10 straight games. I don't think he's going to put that. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't even put that streak on line. I think he's going to want to keep that the next week, obviously, because he's gotten 9 or 10 in a row. But obviously, yeah, the big story today, Eagles fire Doug. And honestly, I think it's the right move right now. I really do. And I know everybody, I get it. You if you're out there, you got to think, oh, what do the Eagles do in 3 years, after winning the Super Bowl, 2 of which he makes the playoffs. But I just think the relationship between Doug and Lori and relationship between, Doug and the organization, basically. We're on, Angela. I think it got to the point. I mean, look at the coach, the last game where he, sits, hurts. That's going to come out now whose decision that was. Because If it wasn't Doug wants another job. And he wants to speak to those players saying, I didn't quit on my team. So we're gonna find out. And obviously, if Doug did that move, I mean, he deserved to get fired. And then a big thing, Coach, of what was going on was supposedly that Lori had met, like, what's your plan for the upcoming with the coaches and all. And Doug wanted Press Taylor to be the offensive coordinator. I think he was the quarterback's coach. And then defensively, he had talked about the line coach moving to coordinator or bringing a guy who used to be, I think, the secondary coach. And Lori didn't want it. And, supposedly Doug was pissed off about, last year when they didn't let him bring Mike Groh, if you remember, Coach.
They fired him, I remember.
Right. They didn't let him bring him on. And, I almost get the feeling, first of all, if that's Doug's plan, he came in unprepared. He really did, because that just doesn't make any sense. I really think Doug might have wanted to get fired, honestly, because it's just you look at his.
There was a couple of games towards the end there where I really thought he was not really coaching to win football games. I mean, honestly, there was some questionable. You and I have talked about it on this show quite a bit.
Right.
That he really didn't look like he was trying to win football games.
Yeah.
And so I don't really think he was. I think he was trying to get out of Philadelphia and move on. I think it was time. I think that Wentz thing is really broken. And I think he really didn't want to be there for the aftermath of it.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem. Lori's upset, and he's got every right to be. I mean, he paid the guy.
But it is the money, too. I really think the money has to be involved, because I don't think Lori wants to get rid of Wentz. Lori likes Wentz a lot. They paid him the money, and I don't think they want to get into that issue on top of being $68 million.
There's talk now, too, that Wentz may stay, and you might see them trade Jalen Hurts, which, I mean, look, you better get the right guy in to be the head coach then. You better get the right guy in. But the one thing I'm a little disappointed in, I don't think that it's necessary they need to fire Howie Roseman, but he can't be the GM. If you want him to be the bean counter in the back, doing the salary cap and all that, the nerd in the room, put him in the other wing like Chip Kelly did, I'm fine with that. But he's not a talent evaluator. You look at their drafts, I mean, it's horrendous. The fact that they won the Super Bowl with the drafts they've had is unbelievable. I mean, because this draft
we were just talking about. We went back the last 5 drafts, and I don't even. There might be a handful of guys left on the roster.
I mean, 2016, they don't have a player left. I mean, it's bad, Coach. And the other thing Lurie said that was upsetting. He said, "Oh, drafts are hit or miss," which that's true. I don't disagree with that. But it's been nothing but miss. If they're not, what are you hitting? And then he said, "And we can't help when teams ahead of us draft the guys we want." Well, okay, elaborate on that. Because if you're talking about the two guys everybody's talking about, Justin Jefferson and DJ Metcalf, no. Justin Jefferson got picked directly after you. They wanted Jalen Reagor, which looks horrendous now. Justin Jefferson just had a rookie, a freaking a great year, obviously. Makes the Pro Bowl in his rookie year, has a record-setting type year. And Jalen Reagor was injured some of the year, didn't show much. And then you look at, obviously, DK Metcalf, and we got Arcadia-Whiteside who can't get on the field. I mean, it looks terrible. And there he's popping in. The guy, I think it's official now. We can say, Stiz is trying to come for my job. I think he's made it official. I think Stiz is trying to put the eviction notice on Nevada Nick's front door. 2 more winners.
Yep.
Stiz coach is trying to get you to throw out a college football prop, but I don't think he's going to. Like I said, Stiz don't follow much college football, and like I wouldn't either. Stiz, I said I wouldn't put the streak on the line for some college football game and it's so hard in college football. There he is. No, and Tommy Jefferson's a great player. I mean, you're talking about a guy who broke Randy Moss's records.
And considering his quarterback, who is just as bad as Wentz, if you ask me. I mean, he's worse than Wentz.
I mean, everybody loves Cousins' stats, but 7-31, Coach, against winning teams. 7-31 against winning teams. He just doesn't get it done when it matters. Wentz, look, he said he had a bad year this year. Other than that, I think Wentz has been good. I mean, yeah, I agree with the health questions. I'm not denying that, but he's been healthy the last 2 years. But Wentz, I think he needs to change the scenery still. Unless you get the right coach.
Look, I still can't get over you quit on your team in a playoff game. When you quit on your team,
Coach. Look, we got stop circling back to that because you weren't on. But Coach, you weren't on the sideline. You don't know because that's just stupid because you don't know. I'm not disagreeing if it's true, but you didn't see him give the helmet back, and we don't look. Concussion's a whole nother animal. I mean,
absolutely. I agree with that. But that was the stories coming out of the locker room.
No, if that's true, it's going to be
okay. Those stories came out, so I'm going based on what came out and was written about.
Well, I'm from Philly, Coach, and I didn't read any of that. I'm just saying, I'm from Philly. I didn't see any of that. Now, like I said, you might be right. Hey, Tommy, he did. Tommy just said we circle back. I don't. He does. This guy over here. But look, regardless, some big decisions need to be made. And look, the first domino to fall, you got to find a head coach. I like Eric Bieniemy. I've always said that.
And so does everybody else.
Yeah. No, right.
I'm just saying,
No, right. But, Coach, he's in the Andy Reid tree. That's always worked for us. Even, for all the people that want to criticize Doug, he brought us a Super Bowl. Let's not all down him. I do think that was a bit of a perfect storm. Really good roster. And I think you'd agree, Coach, he misses Frank Reich. You watch how the Colts play. And it looks a lot like how the Eagles played that Super Bowl year. And now, look, Doug did get affected by they didn't.
Hey, Joe, I'm not from that shit.
No, me. He's talking about me. He's talking about me. I'm from Aston, he's saying, not you. Right. So Doug, he didn't put this roster together. So that's not on Doug. I mean, Howie did a poor job putting the players in front of him, but Doug did a poor job coaching. So I think it was best to move on and move on to the next guy and see what happens.
I gotta believe Howie's on the, his seat's hot now. I mean, if he doesn't hit on some of these draft picks this year, Coach, I gotta believe that it's
Coach. He gets away with it all the time. I mean, his team never his seat's been hot for a decade in Philly, but it doesn't seem like anything ever happened. This is the guy who drafted Danny Watkins. I mean, who was out of the league in 2 years. Michael Joseph, you want to put that up? I think it's possible now, Michael. I wouldn't. I think it's broke. Beyond repair.
Yeah.
But I think it's now back in the cards. I think if Doug was here, I don't think it would have happened. And I think that's part of Doug's problem too, was the whole thing that happened in the last game. There was going to be a factor relationship, not just with Carson, but I think with some of the players too. Look, I really think the Wentz thing, don't you leave that up to the new coach and you say, what do you want to do? And if the coach wants to try to coach him up and see what he can do, I would kind of leave that up to the coach. You don't want to be making decisions for the coach before he even gets here. Let him come on board and see what he wants to do. We'll see who that coach is. I did hear one name, Lincoln Riley.
Yep, I heard that.
If they go down that road, if they didn't learn their lesson from Chip Kelly, I don't know what to tell you.
Why you Hurts was a Heisman candidate with.
Yeah, well, this is the NFL, not college.
Okay,
Coach, you just game planning against a Big 12 defense and then game planning against an NFL defense, and it's a different. It's a whole.
All right, but I mean, and everybody's going to point to Phoenix or Arizona. They're having some success.
Yeah, I don't like Cliff Kingsbury either. 8-8. I thought they underperformed.
Yeah, I think they got more talent than that. They should have been more.
I mean, he got fired from Texas Tech. You put up what Joe said. Joe Fuller and Joe. No, that's exactly the other thing, Lori. Joe, that's exactly what I said, Joe. It's going to come out now because Doug wants another job, and if he didn't make that decision, he's going to put it out there that he didn't make that decision because he doesn't want players thinking he quit on his team. Right. So Doug will put that out there, and I think Jim Schwartz leaving too. It was a sign of something. You know what I mean? I think he knew they were headed for a bad stretch. And look, time will tell. But the Eagles got to get this choice right because, and I think it's good because honestly, I think Doug would have come back next year and he would have been end up getting fired after next year anyway. So I think you're a year ahead of it and you can start kind of rebuilding now.
Well, but let's face it. I mean, you could talk about Bieniemy, but Philadelphia is not a very attractive job. I mean, what do you have? What do you have? You're $68 million over the cap.
Right.
You have a quarterback who's broken, and I mean, you're coming into a mess. And I mean, I'm sure we're not the only ones to point out that the general manager is terrible at draft picks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you tell me how attractive that is when I could go to, yes, the Jets are dysfunctional, but man, they got a lot of draft picks. They got a lot of capital. And, they got a pretty good front office right now.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely take the Jags over the Eagles because you're probably going to get Trevor Lawrence and you got $90 million in cap room.
Right.
I know you don't got as many pieces, but you can mold the team how you want. I would definitely go to the Jets because, like you said, the draft capital, the salary under the cap. Definitely the Chargers. Chargers are definitely a better job than the Eagles. You got Herbert. You got plenty of pieces around. And I would even say I don't like the owner, but I would probably go with Houston too because you got Deshaun Watson at least. And I like Wentz, but he ain't Deshaun Watson. So
Chris, you bring up a good point though. But I don't know that Schwartz. I mean, I don't know that Schwartz had that kind of pull. Yeah. I don't think you're getting rid of the guy that won you a Super Bowl because everybody looks at the head coach, and the defensive coordinator want him out. I don't.
Yeah, and then if you want to put up what Stiz said about who the Eagles go after at 6, it's possible Smith, but man, if they take Smith, you're basically admitting how bad you drafted the last 2 years, taking a receiver in the second round and the first round. They might because, look, the
I
guy's
don't
got
know that
20
he's
touchdowns.
there.
Yeah, no.
I
If
think
it's
the
not
Dolphins.
him, but no, that's possible. You're right. If not, Jamar Chase might be there, the kid who opted out at LSU, so maybe you draft him. But I wouldn't mind seeing Mekhi Parsons from Penn State just as a defensive playmaker, on that defense. Because, look, you got to get great somewhere. They got some pieces on the line. And, look, would it be nice to get a piece outside on at wide receiver? Yeah, but I don't know. I would rather go, another route. I think you get offense or defensive lines, or like I said, a guy like Parsons who's going to be a big playmaker on defense.
Yeah.
They need some impact players, Coach.
You're right.
And I know he is. I know, but I don't know. There's just so much. They have a lot of holes, man. This team isn't as deep as it once was. I mean, they are not a very deep team.
No, and again, I think that you might see. You're not going to get. I really think that you and the Philadelphia fan base are, on this pipe dream, or maybe it's the crack pipe, one or the other. But you're not going to get one of these top, coordinators to come and take this job. It stinks. You're going to get who's coming here? Marvin Lewis, Jim Caldwell, guys that aren't even coaching right now. They're the guys who you're going to get to fill this spot. And listen, Jim Caldwell, I think, got screwed in Detroit. Actually, he's the last guy to take them to a playoff appearance, and is a good quarterback guy. He could probably fix Wentz, or at least, So I honestly think that's where you guys are looking at. You're not. I mean, I don't see one of those guys coming to that place when you have better.
No, I agree. And,
better these.
Right. No, I agree with you, but at least I do give the Eagles credit. This is a tough decision to make, but at least they made it. And at least they moved on and didn't do like Andy, where you hold on a year too long. They made the decision. Kind of like I think the Raiders maybe should have looked at with Gruden, because I'm really curious to see how that plays out next year for the Raiders, Angela. Because but no, it's the truth. If the Raiders go out and they're 5-11 or 6-10 next year, or 7-9 again,
even 8-8. Honestly, if 8-8, I gotta believe he gets fired 8-8.
Oh, to me, it's playoffs or bust. I don't care if it's 9-7. You say, with a winning year, playoff or bust for him next year.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So now you want to get into the games yesterday, Coach?
Yeah. Let's talk some. Let's just start right down the road with the Ravens. Game one was the Ravens, and Stiz's prop bet. He hit that. He took the under. He went, and like he said, he went against the trends of. And the Ravens had a great game plan. They had a great game plan. They came out and executed, and they got the monkey off their back. Yeah,
and you know what? I agreed with Stiz on that. I had J.K. Dobbins to score a touchdown. He did score. I personally bet Lamar to score a touchdown too. I mean, look, it's a big win for the Ravens too, because first of all, obviously Lamar gets his first playoff win. But I thought what was just as big, Coach, was getting down 10 points and be able to come back. That was big. I think somebody said it was like 17 straight they had lost that they were down double digits, which, you got to be able
because it's hard for them to come back. It's the NFL version of the wing tee is what they run.
Right.
And but that's huge for them to be down 10 points and be able to make that comeback and march down the field.
And look, I think early on, Lamar throws the interception and it didn't look good, but I think they're realizing with Lamar, and I don't know how sustainable that is year after year after year, but right now, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you just got to let Lamar be Lamar. And that's what he did yesterday. I mean, so he made the first big play. He makes that 59-yard run or whatever, his 50-some-yard run for the touchdown. Look, you're going to need that. He's going to be rushing for 90 to 100 yards every game, and that's what it's been. But he's making the plays he needs to. And you know it too, Coach. You know how hard that is to defend. The one play, they showed it yesterday on ESPN and broke it down. The defense played the play perfect, but then he just gets through that one little crevice, and you can't coach against that type of athleticism and speed. It's ridiculous for a quarterback. I thought Mike Vick was a freak of nature, Coach. This guy's a whole nother level, in my opinion. athletically than Mike Vick. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
I agree with that.
And Stiz, look, I'm not going to burn Vrabel for going with what got him there, but you could see Henry wasn't going to get those rushing yards. They were stacking that run. I thought they had a little success early throwing the ball, but man, credit to the Ravens defense. They played really well yesterday, and they're getting guys back at the right time.
Well, I mean, you're down 10-0. You're getting close to getting that heavy dose of Henry and then starting to chew up the clock. So
100%.
props to that defense to be able to, get those 3 and outs and get the ball back and give the Lamar Jackson and the offense time to or opportunities to score points, which they did.
Yeah, and they frustrated Henry too. He was frustrated. Vrabel had to walk with him off the sideline at one time. So, yeah, that's a big win for the Ravens. And once again, Coach, this is a dangerous team, man, because they can play defense and run the ball. And SpongeBob football. I watched that a little bit yesterday, but I'm telling you, the Ravens are dangerous. Things didn't play out like I thought they would. I did say the Browns is going to be a very close game. I didn't think the Steelers would lose, obviously. I thought it would be Steelers, Bills, and then obviously Chiefs and
Ravens.
So I didn't like that matchup for the Chiefs. Now the Chiefs get the Browns, Bills get the Ravens. I'm a little concerned. I'm going to be honest. That's going to be a tough game for the Bills. You saw how they did against the Colts, and that's the Bills' defense's weaknesses against stopping the run. So I'm telling you, Saturday night, Coach, going to be a great game. Buffalo versus the Bills. Buffalo versus the Ravens. Going to be a great game Saturday night. Really looking forward to it. Right now, the line stands at Bills -2 at home. That's, like I said, really looking forward to that game. To me, that's the best game on the slate, obviously, with Breeze versus Brady, when it's Saints
the next
versus Bucks, and you just want to transition into that game, obviously.
Just good, because you and Angela both transitioning into the Saints game. I personally did not put Nickelodeon on to watch, but I did see some of those, pictures, previews, whatever it was for that. So, I'm sure, you know what? That was probably great. If you have a youngster that's like 4, 5, 6, 7 in that range, and, that probably was kind of fun to keep them motivated watching the football game.
Now, that game, look, man, I didn't think the Saints played a great game. They didn't. And they still won. Should have won by 25. Obviously, Breeze misses the touchdown at the end. But that game was never in trouble. The Saints defense was really impressive. Yeah. Trubisky never really did anything. He did have one play, though. He put right into his receiver's arms, and he drops the ball. Mims.
Gimmick
play. But
you know what? That's why you have hands. Catch it with your hands and not your chest. It won't bounce off.
Right. I thought, honestly, Sean Payton was a little gimmicky too much yesterday. I thought they were running the football and should have just played it more straight up. And, I remember one play brings in Taysom Hill. And, look, I'm not going to – the play was there for a touchdown, and Taysom Hill throws an interception. But Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. You got Drew Brees for a reason. Let him play. I mean, this is Drew's last year. Let him go down on the sword at least. The guys deserved it. I mean, he looked good yesterday. I wouldn't blame it on him. I didn't like the flow of the offense. I think that was more the addition. And Chris, look, I wouldn't hire Deuce Staley. I don't know that I love Deuce, but I just don't know if he's head coach material. Look, and everybody loves Deuce.
He's not been an offensive coordinator. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but look, I mean, the Bears, I think we all knew that game. The Saints were going to win. They're just a better team. But I'm telling you, really.
Here's the thing that kind of surprised me was the, Sean Payton excited about Jameis Winston next year of being the quarterback. If you're excited about him, why didn't he play quarterback while Drew Brees was out?
That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know. Did he hype him up to try to get the kid paid next year to find another team? I don't know. I'm not buying it. But
Coach, that's another one that didn't play out like I thought. Now I can't pick every game right, obviously, but I thought it was going to be the Saints playing the Seahawks, and then obviously the Packers playing the Bucs. Well, now it's different. And look, the Saints are going to have to
the same thing.
Tom Brady too, Coach. Beating a team 3 times in a year is never easy.
Right.
Beating Tom Brady 3 times in 1 year is definitely not easy. Now, look, credit to both these guys. Brady at 43 and Breeze at 42, playing the way they are, unbelievable. And, I mean, Brady's just a whole nother level. Breeze can still play the game, but, Coach, I think he should retire after this year because I think he's approaching that possibility where he has that Peyton Manning kind of year where you come back and then it's gone. You know what I mean? Right. And you got to – I mean, look at Big Ben yesterday. That was embarrassing. Yeah. We'll obviously get into that in a second, but, Drew Brees has done so much for the city of New Orleans, and, he won a Super Bowl there. Obviously goes there after Katrina and helps build the team back up. Right. He's a hero in New Orleans, one of the faces of the NFL. And, look, I don't think they can financially do it anyway, but I think it'd be nice for all right. Stiz, I disagree with you there. I think the Saints are going to find a way to win.
I like Stiz because, look, that was what did I say yesterday? You asked me who was going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And here.
We're good now. The Super Bowl picks Tampa Bay.
Here's the fun fact, though. Should, by some crazy reason, the Rams upset Green Bay and Tampa wins, Tampa will host the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
How about that, right?
I know.
Man.
And what would Bill Belichick be thinking? You know what I mean? That would be insanity. The one thing I'll say, look, Tampa Bay's hitting stride at the right time. They really are. Offensively, they're playing well. Devin White will be back this week. Yep. It's going to be a great game. Line's 3 on that. Saints are -3 at home. But I think –
and they'll have some fans too, won't they? There'll be some fans.
Yeah, they'll have some. I think that's a bad matchup for the Bucs. And let me say this too: the Bucs 1-4 this year against winning teams, 11-1, or excuse me, 10-1 against teams that weren't in the playoffs. So they really beat up on the teams they shouldn't, and that includes the team they beat in the playoffs. Obviously, the 7-9 Washington football team. Excuse me. So look, Tampa Bay's good, but look, you know it too, Coach. We're getting to experience now. Saints a much more experienced playoff team. I'm going to go with that over Tampa Bay, but it's going to be Stiz says buys the hook. All right. So no, I agree. I would definitely take the extra hook too with Tampa Bay, but I like my Saints. Stiz, I'm gonna ride my Saints still.
All right. We'll see. I like Stiz this week.
All right. Well, okay. Look, you can come off the Nevada Nick bandwagon. That's fine with me. That's fine with me, buddy.
Listen, no, I said yesterday, let's go get the tape out. I said Tampa and Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You said, who's your Super Bowl picks? I said Tampa and Buffalo.
You did.
How can I go against you? I mean, how can I go against Tampa?
No, you're right.
You're right. I have in the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Okay. Come on now.
Like I said, it makes me feel better. You guys are, especially you, like the other side. I'm completely fine with that. That's how I like it. I like it that way. Now, obviously, last game of the night, last night, what a horrible performance. Ooh. Somebody should have told the Steelers that the game started at 8:15, not 9:45. And look, congratulations to the Browns. Congratulations to their fans. Happy for them. I really am. Look, the Browns played well.
PP Eater's got the same thing as me. That's scary. Okay.
Yeah. Now, Coach, let me ask you this. I want to see if you agree. And I said this last night. And some people might think this sounds nuts, but I really think. Okay, I got the Bills at 25-1. Tommy, there's no way Tampa Bay was 22-1 week 1. They were one of the favorites going into the year because of Brady coming there. Yeah. But no, I think, Coach, and I'm curious to see if you agree. I think Stefanski actually being out kind of became an advantage for the Browns because they really confused the Pittsburgh defense. And you know how it is when you're a head coach. You have tendencies, and they went completely against the grain yesterday, and they surprised the Steelers on a lot of plays. I mean, look, you can't have 5 turnovers and win a game, Coach. You know that. I know that. Right. But still, I really thought – I mean, the Browns came fired up. And that's the other thing. Juju Smith-Schuster needs to just shut up. Coming out before the game saying the Browns are still the Browns. I mean, if you don't think that affected the game too, Browns came out fired up. They really did.
They were. And look, I mean, that bad snap, and you know, it's tough because I think Ben was looking at Connor. Connor's looking at Ben, who's falling on the ball, and then Garrett just came in, pushed it into the end zone, and as I got pointed out, the former Raider picked it up, scored the touchdown. So, but you know, and that's okay. You can overcome that. But I mean, the next series, you know, throw an interception. I mean,
right.
You know,
and that was my point. If they would have stopped the bleeding, if they'd have stopped the bleeding early, they'd have been okay. They came back. But you know, the one question, Coach, I didn't understand. Mike Tomlin, I think it was the start of the fourth quarter, 4th and 1 at Pittsburgh's only 46, being down 25 at halftime. You're at the point where now it's 12. You got to go for it. I mean, because you know, when you're down 25, you need almost everything to go your way. He punts, they came down and scored, and it was ball game. And look, they even came back down and scored real quick. I mean, but it's just at that point you really thought, okay, that was it. But man, I just, you know, Coach, to me, that tells me if I'm on that team, it's you don't believe in me. You don't think we can get that 1 yard. And look, if you get stopped, you get stopped. But go out. To me, that was so conservative and playing just scared almost. You know, you got to get that 1 yard. And I know Pittsburgh has struggled, you know, running the ball, but they went through on 4th and 5 down 19 when you could have kicked the field goal and made it 16, and then you need 2 scores and 2 points, but they went for it on 4th and 5.
Right.
So then why are you going on 4th and 1?
And the other thing, you know, with this, you know, completely abandoned the running game, and obviously you banned it because you're down 28-0. But that quick, you know, guys, Cleveland's defense stopped covering guys. They were just reading Ben. I mean, and that's what happens when you have a quarterback like that he can't move in the pocket anymore, and he's just getting the ball and throwing it to the first read. So.
And when he can't move in the pocket, and when he gets any pressure, he throws it up. He really does, and he did that. The first one, it's exactly what he did. He felt heat, put it up, and it was right over the guy's head and right into the Browns' hands. And look, give the Browns credit too, because yes, they got short fields and all, but still, that Steelers defense could have held them to some field goals. They were getting touchdowns, man. And you know, but we'll see how good the Browns are this week, because this week you got a different animal coming in and a whole different offense. But, you know, look, once again, Browns are getting disrespected. Chiefs are a 10-point favorite.
Right. And, you know, but look, I'm happy for Cleveland. They're, you know, and of course, OBJ is not part of it. And, you know, they're playing better without him. And he's another guy who will be on the move, I believe, this offseason.
Yeah, I don't see why you bring him back. I think you're teetering with you know, with an issue there. Why, when you had so much success with Adam, I wouldn't mess with it. Get a younger kid and bring him in. Like, you know, I don't know where he goes, but I would definitely move on. I don't know what kind of confidence. What do you think you might get for him? 2nd or 3rd round pick? You're not getting a 1, I don't think, anymore.
No, I don't think you're getting a 1 anymore, but you'll get a 2nd and a 3rd, a 2nd and a 3rd, maybe.
Right, but still, that's still nice compensation for the Browns, who have a good team. They're a good team, and if they get a couple players, and look, I get on them. Baker played good yesterday. He really did. You know, he didn't make any turnovers. He put the ball where it needed to be. Baker played good yesterday. And they have, like I said, they got a nice team. They need to get a little bit better defensively and maybe a weapon on offense. I don't think they're going to win by – I think that's a tough one. Giving the Browns 10, it's a lot of points, but I got a feeling the Browns just got that huge win, and now you come in the Chiefs being rested. Chiefs haven't covered a game in a while. I got a feeling the Chiefs might come out and lay one on them. I wouldn't lay 10, though. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win by more than 10, but, you know, I like the Chiefs in that game, and I think they win by a touchdown. I really do. I don't know if they win by 10 or more, but I do think they'll win by more than 6 points. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I honestly, I think it's, and I know Mike's going to be mad he sees this, but look, I think that they've been rested and they're going to just, it's going to be like a video game.
Yeah. And you
You
want to
know,
put up what Angela said? Angela, the thing I don't like is they weren't really playing that great going into it. So, sometimes you can get out of rhythm. But I think, it's tough. We'll have to see. But I really think you're going to know early with the Chiefs. They're either going to come out and you're going to see it, or they're going to struggle again and they're going to be in for a long day. And look, they've been squeaking out wins, but I think you're going to know very early with the Chiefs. They're going to either come out and freaking just coming out the tunnel, or it's going to be a long game, and because they've struggled for a while now. I'm really curious to see too, because it is 3 weeks off basically they had. So
yeah.
we'll see how that plays out on Sunday. The Magi.
The Magi.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will too, especially for guys that are nicked up and all. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is you saw it with the Saints yesterday, Coach. Kamara didn't practice. They had a fumble. They missed an exchange. They looked a little rusty yesterday, the Saints. I didn't like that. So you might see that a little bit early out of the Chiefs. But, I mean, I think, once again, they're going to get it going, and I think they're going to score points on the Browns.
Okay. All right. I agree. They're not going to score points. I don't think.
Right.
I think it's they'll get it fired up.
Yeah.
So
if the Browns beat them, it's going to be just this tremendous rushing game, 150, 200 yards rushing, keeping Mahomes off the field, shortening the game, shortening possessions, and maybe a turnover or two on defense. That's, I think, the Browns' path to victory if they're going to beat the Chiefs.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. That's what you got to do, and they have probably one of the best, if not the best, tandem running back tandem in the league. I mean, because there's no change of pace, I mean, you got two. You have 1 and 1A coming in with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
And both of them, Coach, can run the ball, and both of them catch the ball out of the backfield too at a high rate. And you know what? It's not like one guy is, he's our speed elusive guy. They're both just bruisers, man. They're both big guys who just impose their will on you. So, yeah. And look, the Browns got a really good offensive line too. Getting Conklin from the Titans, who was an all-pro guy. They have a very good offensive line. It's going to be tough to stop that running game, but it too. Spags is going to put some heat on Baker Mayfield. He's going to come at you. You know how Spags is. I mean, he was your D coordinator for years. Spags is going to put some pressure at you.
Yeah, he's gonna dial it up. Trust me, he'll dial it up, and I think that he will. Unlike Pittsburgh, he's gonna load the box, shut down the run, and make you beat him pass-wise, and I think it's a little bit different. He's got his pieces in place with the Chiefs where, you saw Pittsburgh really struggling, because didn't their other defensive end or outside backer who was
Devin
in for
Bush.
Dupree, he went
and
out.
Bud Dupree. Yeah, Bud Dupree and Devin Bush.
So, you're down to your third guy trying to put pressure, and that really hurt the Steelers, you see, because after he went down, pretty much the Steelers went south after that.
And, Coach, you're going to see a lot of Honey Badger. He's going to be around that line a lot to help in run support, but they'll also bring them too. You know that. Spags will bring that safety. Used to, Jim Johnson used to bring Doak. Spags will rush Honey Badger. So I think it's a little bit of both, Angela. The Steelers, 5 turnovers. If the Steelers play a cleaner game, I definitely think they could have won. Like I said, if they'd have stopped the bleeding early, I think they would have won. If it was 14-0 instead of 28-0, I think the Steelers would have come back yesterday. But, I mean, I'm not going to, down the Browns and say the Steelers lost the game because the Browns played hard. They came out. Like I said, it's kind of a little bit of both, I think, honestly.
To put up the score, I mean.
No, she's right. If you just said, think about it, Coach. If I'd have said to you the Steelers were going to score 37 points, you probably would have put your mortgage payment that the Steelers cover, obviously. You know what I mean? With that
Right.
defense.
You're right.
Nobody
You're right.
thought that the Browns were going to score 48 points.
Absolutely. But listen, when you put the defense in a shorted field, man, it's you really put them at a disadvantage.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. Yeah, you're right about that. Now, do you want to get into the championship game, or you want to maybe talk about that Deshaun Watson a little bit? Which one do you want to go to?
Yeah, however you want. You want to stick with the NFL? We'll talk just Deshaun Watson. Listen, you're a player. I mean, why do they have to consult you with anything?
But you know what? I'm going to disagree with you on that. He's the franchise quarterback. They didn't even let him know they traded Hopkins. You could at least give him a heads up, Coach. He finds out about it on social media, and then they hire that firm to tell him who they want for the GM and the owner who they should hire. The owner completely ignores who they should hire. And I agree with you. They shouldn't have to take his advice, but you should let him be a part of the process maybe a little bit. Just maybe to appease him even, Coach. Like, right. Okay, yeah, we're listening to you, then hire somebody else. But once again, he had to find out about that, I think, on social media. And supposedly he said he would go to the Dolphins. And I'm telling you now, and I think you'll agree, if I'm the Dolphins, I would I try to do 2 of the 18th and maybe like a 3rd round pick, the 18th overall pick. But if I have to, I'd give up 2 in the 3rd overall pick for Deshaun. Because I think, come on, man. You get a guy like Watson on that offense, Coach.
I don't know that I give up the 3rd. I would definitely give up the 18th and maybe even a 2nd, but I'm not giving up that first. Because I get Deshaun Watson, I'm definitely taking the Alabama kid receiver with the 3rd pick. And
then now, tell me that'd be dangerous, man.
Because, you got to remember, I'm giving up next year's pick or something because they're not going to be picking in the top 10 for a long time.
Right. Yeah, no. But, man, if they could pull that off and you get Devontae Smith and Watson to that offense with their defense already, oh, man, I really think the Bills will say, we win 1 year, and now we got the Dolphins clipping at our tails already. The Dolphins would be very, very dangerous. So curious to see what happens there because Watson supposedly said he's willing to not play, which I don't know how much of that's true or not, but he said he's willing to not play.
Yeah, and but I don't know what Watson's contract is as opposed to Wentz's contract, but man, if I'm Philadelphia, why not give it a call and see? Can't we work something out? Because the money is the money.
Right.
And then if I'm the Eagles, what do I have to give you plus Wentz?
Yeah. If they can fit it into their cap and all, I would do it too. And Tommy, I'll say that too. Steelers started 11-0, not 11-1, but 11. To me, have you ever seen a team coach like that started 11-0? And I'm not saying, regardless. Okay, not a team that had like a quarterback get hurt or something. I've never seen a team start as good as they did. And I know the schedule was weak, but that defense looked good. The offense was kicking early. But to go 1-5 after that, Coach,
you lost Bud Dupree. You lost the other linebacker inside the other
Kevin Bush.
Yep. Your defense was keeping you in those games. And once that fell apart, you were done. And
I think it was more the offense. The offense really fell apart.
Offense was bad. I thought the offense wasn't very good to begin with because they were so one-dimensional. You always knew Pittsburgh was that running ground and pound, and they were just constantly throwing the ball. Ben's throwing the ball damn near through 200 times a game, it seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, but, Coach, if you look at the start of the season, 26 points, 26 points, 28 points, 38 points, 38 points, 27 points, 28 points, 24 points, 36 points, and then they had 27. Then after that is when they really struggled. That it started with that Baltimore game where all the Baltimore players were out. Right. They win 19-14, and then the losses start coming. They lose to Washington, only score 17 points, lose to the Bills, only score 15, lose to Cincinnati, and only score 17. I don't know how they won that Colts game now, where they came back from the 17 down.
Right.
That's their last win, and then obviously they lose in the last week against Cleveland. So, which it just shows you about the NFL. Cleveland barely beats their backups by 2 points in a must-win game, Coach, for the Browns. They got to win and not making the playoffs, and then they come out and the Steelers, starters off rest get blown out. Does that make any sense?
Well, but you got to look at all the mistakes that the Steelers made. Like you said,
No,
and you take away those mistakes, it's a different ball game. But the mistakes are the mistakes, and you have to overcome them. And Pittsburgh just couldn't do it.
Right.
We do have the national championship tonight. So, as Eagles fans and Giant fans, we get to kind of scout our first round pick in tonight's game, probably because, there's a good shot that some of these kids playing tonight will be drafted by one of our teams.
I mean, and you look too, Coach, just look at the Redskins. You got Chase Young from Ohio State. Yeah, so sorry. Look at the Washington football team. But you got Chase Young, who they just drafted from Ohio State. Jonathan Allen, the defensive tackle. He was from Alabama. And then they got another defensive tackle. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah. He's from Alabama. So, you can't go wrong with guys from either of this team. So, no, definitely you're going to be looking at it and see what happens. I'm curious to how everything's going to play out, obviously. Tonight, look, 8.5, or it's actually, I think it's up to 9 now. I like Alabama. I think they're going to win the game. I personally bet Alabama minus 2.5 in a tease, but I'm not laying 9 points to Ohio State. I mean, Justin Fields looked really good last time against Clemson. I do think Alabama wins this game, but if I had to do anything, I would take the 9 points. Yeah, look at last game with Alabama Notre Dame. They ended up winning by, I think it was 17, and they did outclass them. But Ohio State's a whole other level than Notre Dame.
Scored that late touchdown to mess it up. It was a garbage touchdown. So
right, exactly. So I like Ohio State to cover, but I think Alabama's going to win a national championship. And what will that be for Nick Saban? Number what? 5, 6, 7? What is it?
25? I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Who knows? But I do. I agree. I like Alabama as well on the deal. So, an article that read that the Raiders are a.
So, Coach, this would be national championship number 7, 6 with. Maybe I'm picking several low, but would you agree with that? Where they're at, Angela, at 17, you're kind of right in the middle of no man's land.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody you really have who you like, you take them. But if there's not somebody you particularly like in that position, you definitely fall back and grab some other. Because my whole thing is, I always loved, your boy does it, Coach. Well, not your boy, but Belichick, your former D coordinator. He looks at it as, give me as many darts as I can to throw at the dartboard. You know what I mean? Right. And it's smart because you're most likely, if you got 10 picks, you got a better chance of hitting some of the picks. So I would, if unless there's somebody that they have targeted at 17 that they really like, and one guy, Coach, that I said, and I know you love him, if they can get Gregory Rousseau, because there's some rumors he's dropping now a little bit because he opted out. Yep. If they can get that edge rusher from Miami, I don't move back. I take him. Wouldn't you?
Oh, I'm hoping the Giants take him at 11. I mean, that I'm really high on him. I like him. I'm hoping the Giants take him on at 11 because what people don't really remember, because he was so young, he tied Chase Young in sacks. Mm-hmm. Chase Young went to the draft. He still had another year. Then he opts out. So, but he probably would have went in the top 5 pick if he went to the draft last year.
Yeah. So, man, that would be 7 for Saban tonight. 6 with Alabama, 1 with LSU. That's crazy, man. Dude, I don't know. I guess, is he the all-time leader in championships?
Yes.
Oh, I thought so.
Yes, because I think Bear Bryant had like 5. I think he's passed Bear already. So, but,
that's no, Bears. He would bake Bear tonight. Bear has 6. So if he wins tonight, Yeah, if he wins
Oh,
tonight,
so he's tied with Bear. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
if he wins tonight, he breaks Bear Bryant's record.
Okay, there you go.
And then all the guys next to him, I haven't heard of any of them. Bernie Bierman, obviously I know Woody Hayes, Frank Leahy, John McKay. John McKay, was that the guy at LSU? Or not LSU, USC, John McKay?
Yes.
Right. And then Howard Jones and Walter Camp. Don't know. I know I've heard of Walter Camp, the name from like the Walter Camp Award, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. So we will see. But good game tonight. And then we're gonna do Saturday, Sunday again, right? Too.
Yeah.
Week?
So we're gonna be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, up until probably the Super Bowl. And then we'll revamp the schedule after the Super Bowl and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds good. Looking forward to it. So everyone, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you head over. Thank you for PP Eater for checking us out on YouTube, Twitter. Make sure you go over, subscribe, ring the bell, like the page, do all that great stuff. Remember, it's also in a podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just type in Coach Muddle. And if you want to reach out to Nevada Nick for his picks, it's Nevada_Nick on Twitter, and I think Instagram is the same, right there, sir.
Yeah.
So you can reach out to him that way. And like I said, Coach Muddle, just type it in, be part of the show. We appreciate everyone. Enjoy the game tonight, and of course, the Magi comes in. No college prop bet.
I told
tonight.
you.
Okay.
I don't blame him. Keep the streak alive. I will.
Keep intact until Saturday. Okay.
Yep. Keep it intact till Saturday.
All right. Good stuff, man. All right.
Checking in, Tommy.
See you, Angela. Thanks, everyone, for checking us out. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll see everybody on Saturday. Be safe and take care.